stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, welcome to the Town of Riverhead Planning Board meeting of December 6, 2018. We are gonna go out of order tonight and go to, first a discussion on, Tractor Supply, which is resolution 84 on the agenda tonight. We will. So Greg, we had the comments from Vinnie, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, just a quick update for the board before you vote on the final site plan approval resolution for the Tractor Supply site plan application. Just a couple of updates, as the planning board had requested, the site plan has been revised to include that eastern vegetative buffer along the eastern property boundary of the Tractor Supply. It consists of 89 Spartan junipers planted at a 12 to 15-inch spread, which will grow to a height of approximately 7 feet and provide an adequate buffer for the neighboring property. The beyond the common roadway design, in the southern end, beyond the Tractor Supply parcel through the flagpole, they're based on engineering comments, they needed to redesign that access road to meet minimum slope requirements. They did this by providing a snaked roadway design, which sort of wraps around. They provided a truck turning plan, which I provided to the town's consulting engineer. We also received fire marshal comments, just prior to the meeting today. Fire marshal's office has reviewed the plans, and they said that upon reviewing the plans, fire department access is still okay, providing that the road in question is capable of handling the minimum weight requirements of the International Fire Code. I did not have a chance to incorporate the fire marshal comments into the approval resolution, but they can be a condition that the beyond the common roadway design be designed to meet the International Fire Code. So I will include that as an amendment to the resolution.
Okay.
Beyond that, if there's any questions that the board has? No.
No.
All right.
Applicant's okay with the comments and changes to the resolution?
Absolutely, yeah, I think the road will definitely be able to support a fire truck, it's gonna support a WD 65, so that shouldn't be an issue.
You have the wording for the rest, for the amendment?
I mean, I can do it, include a condition that the plans will be revised to comply with the December 6th, 2018 fire marshal comments.
Would that be comment number 27 in the resolution?
I would include it. It would be, I would include it as one of the items under number 23.
Okay.
That the plan shall be revised prior to signature of Mylar,
Make it
the plan
9.
shall be revised.
Make it IX.
Yeah. Alright.
Quick comment.
Sure.
You're gonna vote now, or?
You're gonna vote.
Okay, I think this is a great business, I'm happy to welcome you. The only thing about the site plan that I don't like is I think there should have been a raise or berm between the parking lot and the main road. That being said, I'm happy to still, vote in this and welcome you to Riverhead. I think it could have been a little bit better with a berm, but other than that, I think it's great.
Good, does anyone from the public wanna comment on this, resolution before we vote on it? Anyone from the public? Okay, so we wanna move 84?
Sure. I move resolution number 84 for the Riverhead Planning Board for the NERP Holdings Tractor Supply, granting the final site plan approval.
As amended. As amended.
Okay, so we have a motion, made and seconded to approve resolution 84 for NERP Holdings Tractor Supply as amended to include the fire marshal comments. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution's adopted.
Congratulations. Thank you very
You're
much,
welcome.
and I
Good luck.
appreciate you allowing us to speak first so that we can make it home as we can.
Safe travel.
Okay, thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Great holiday. Thank you, Jeff.
Okay, the first public hearing on the agenda tonight is for Overlook Homes. And we have the affidavit of posting turned in. If you did.
Charles Cuddy for the applicant, who's here tonight with Howard Young also. As you know, this is a site that has 4 lots. It's south of Hubbard Avenue. It's been there for an extensively long time, but I think that we've looked at it maybe in a somewhat of a strange light, because it's not a vacant tract that's being newly subdivided. This is a site that has somewhat more than 25 homes, has an existing road that's at least half a mile, if not longer, in length. This applicant is adding to that, not really adding to it, but is using approximately 800 feet, or a third of that road. The houses there have been in existence prior to zoning, as a matter of fact, and this site, I think, should be looked at somewhat differently than you would look at a site that is normally just a starting subdivision. The road exists. He is actually adding just 2 new houses to the site, because there are 2 houses that are existing there on one of the lots already. So of the 4-lot subdivision, which is acre lots, he's actually adding 2 new houses to this entire site. I think to rigidly follow existing rules, to say that there's need for road improvement and drainage, is really unnecessary. It's not going to enhance this neighborhood. This neighborhood has been there. It's continuous. I don't believe the people there have any exception to what he's doing. Again, this is a subdivision that's really pre-existing site. It's not a new site at all. I would ask the board to seriously look at it from that existing viewpoint, that the road is there. The lots that he's using, as I say, really just add 2 houses. So there's nothing about it that should require the board to do anything but waive the existing requirement rules. The subdivision code in this town has a broad waiver provision. And that waiver provision is very simple, and it says that the board can waive required improvements when it's not in the interest of the public safety or health. And also they can waive it because of inadequacy of lack of connecting facilities adjacent to or in proximity to the proposed subdivision. I think this fits exactly in the waiver provision, and I would ask the board to waive the requirements so that he can go ahead with the subdivision.
Okay, are there any questions from the board?
Which lots have the houses?
Excuse me?
Which lots have the buildings on them?
Which lots have houses
Which of
on
the
them?
4 lots here? You said there were 2 existing.
Lot, I think it's 2
1 and
and
2.
3 have houses on them.
1 and 2?
1 and 2.
So let me take my,
Yes, that's correct. Lots 1 and
1 and 2, that's right.
What's the intention with those 2 houses that are existing?
To complete them and to work on them and get them up and going again.
In other words, they're not occupied?
I think at this time is one of them occupied. One of them is occupied, the other is not.
Okay, I believe it was the board's understanding that we didn't have the authority to waive the state fire regulations. And we were advised as such. So, the section of the code that you referred to mentioned unless it was for public health and safety, and I think fire would fall under that, and that's how we've been advised. But I don't know that that's a topic of discussion for tonight's public hearing. We could certainly take that up at another work session, but I thought we had that all ironed out already with everybody.
Well, I think that the road now is 20 feet wide, which is what the requirement we understood was. So I think that when Howard Young drew the map, he made it so it would be that width. and it was changed from its original list.
What action, or any, if any, did the zoning board, there was many hearings on this somewhere for this site, what
Not that,
caused the zoning board?
not that I'm aware of, I mean, I don't think with this application it wasn't,
They didn't have Overlook Home?
not that I know of, no.
There was a zoning board application made recently for a lot farther south on Overlook Homes, on Overlook Drive, but it did not affect this
This
subdivision.
doesn't
It was
involve this
further south.
particular site.
Okay, is there anyone from the public who wants to provide comments? Just come up to the podium and state your name, please.
Good evening, my name is Anthony Capitolo, I'm the principal of the trust that owns property at 257 Overlook. My wife is also a principal of those trusts. They're at the far south end, the 4 houses from the end of Overlook. We were notified that this application was taking place, and I'm here to let the board know that this circumstance of this road is abominable from where the railroad tracks at the most northerly end of the property to where the proposed subdivision is currently. It looks like it's been mortar shelled by either out of Afghanistan or Vietnam war site, and is presently is virtually impassable. Literally, you have to weave through in and out of these roads, with potholes being as much as 2 and 3 feet deep. The 20-foot width is inadequate in certain spots for 2 cars to pass at the same time, let alone emergency vehicles. Now, I'm familiar with the construction that's already going on. I'm gonna call it the Red House. There's a red house that is there that's been under renovation. There's been sanitary installations going on. I don't know if there's been approval for that at this point in time, but new cesspools are put in, and there's actual construction going on as we speak now. The bend at the far south end of this property is totally inadequate to make any turns, so for authorized emergency vehicles under the Uniform Motor Vehicle Traffic Control Device requirements, it's absolutely impossible for a vehicle such as a hook and ladder or an emergency vehicle with full width to come in there, make the turns that are necessary at the far end of this property, and then going further south. And I don't know what provisions the board intends to impose upon the contractor. I don't have no objection to us doing the work properly, but the width of the road that's there, I looked on the map outside, seems to say, I thought 30-foot in width, and which I think is the appropriate width for safety purposes and authorized emergency vehicles. And I'm now hearing 20 feet, but I don't see that on the proposed map outside. So my first question is the board gonna require the road to be paved from a certain point to a certain point? And what would the width be? And what provisions are you gonna make for the safety of the people at the far south end of Overlook, so that ambulances, emergency vehicles of other type can get in there without problems? Because right now, even though it's a half mile from the railroad tracks where Overlook starts to the far south end roughly, it could take you 10, 15 minutes to go that, because the road is in such terrible condition. So my first question to the board is, have you imposed any requirements regarding the renovation, maintenance, widening, and construction of the road?
We have discussed it, but nothing has been finalized, and as I had mentioned when the applicant was speaking, that there were guidelines that were imposed by the fire marshal that required the state fire code to be met, and up until this time, as far as I know, they still stand. I can't answer you as to whether or not they would be required, I would have to defer to our council, if they would be required to improve the road all the way to the end.
I'm not asking that, but the property certainly that, the property that the road fronts on that they own, are they gonna be responsible to do that? Then we could worry about the latter or the most southerly portions, by the other neighbors, I take it. But right now, just getting here tonight was a disaster. I had to abandon one of my low-riding vehicles and get in effect, a high-end Jeep to traverse this road. my neighbors down there have had 2 blowouts in the last couple of, months, because she is, a small woman and drives a low riding vehicle. This is impossible, and unless we understand what restrictions are gonna be placed upon the contractor as far as the width of the road for safety purposes, and whether the road is gonna be put in proper condition from where the railroad tracks start to the end of the track where they intend to do the, construction and part of the subdivision, we would have a great objection to it. We want him to succeed, want him to build the houses, but he has to put appropriate, roads in for the people that are gonna use this, because we have to get over this in and out to get to the main thoroughfares. So that's my first objection. I don't know if you're aware that work is already going on at the houses, nor do I care whether or not he's doing it, as long as he's doing it to code. But the house right on the water, the red house, has already had a new sanitary system put in, and all it is rings. There's no septic system besides that. So I'm concerned that there's been no oversight, and that the board here imposes restrictions on the construction and implements a proper road requirement that he be required to put in. You cannot, 2 vehicles cannot pass at all, let alone a regular vehicle and a truck or something of that. You have to pull off the road, go into the woods to get it to somebody's driveway or back up. It's a disaster. That's my comment.
Okay,
Thank you.
welcome, thank you. Anyone else want to address the board?
My name's Dr. Lepard, I'm an orthopedic surgeon. I can't get down that road, I've been there 4 years. It needs to be repaired, it's completely unsafe. When we, at the end of the road, did our development, out of a courtesy to the community, we widened it, we put asphalt on it, and we put in a turnaround to facilitate any service trucks that came down, because, as Tony just said, they can't turn around. They come down, and there's no way to make a U-turn. So out of courtesy to the community, we, at our cost, finished the road, properly widened it to allow for emergency vehicles to turn around, K-turn and go back. So if UPS comes, or oil trucks come, they can come all the way down to the end in front of our houses and do a K-turn. But we did that on our own after we built our houses, and I guess what we're asking is that everybody on that road takes care of that piece of road for not only their own good, but the responsibility of everybody else on that road. My wife, unfortunately, has cancer. We've been back and forth to hospitals. I can't tell you what it's like coming up that road with a stent in you, coming out of the hospital and going over what literally are landmines. My car had to be towed 2 weeks ago to Southampton because we ruined the tires on this. It has to be fixed. Nobody, obviously the town doesn't have to take care of it apparently, so we took care of our end, so it was safe, and facilitates trucks to come out to our end. Well, we're asking that if they're gonna do a development, that they put similar care and consideration to fix their part of the road, which I think is fair. And I'm concerned about the amount of construction. You're gonna have big vehicles, as it is, every time it rains, literally, the potholes are at least 2-3 feet. It's impassable. You can go drive down it. People put dirt on it by themselves. We, 3 or 4 of us who live there have considered putting our funds together to repair it ourselves in front of these other homes so that we can get out. I'm all for construction. I think it's a great idea. I just hope that whatever the board agrees to, that they do some fairness to make an appropriate road so trucks can pass and emergency vehicles. Because there's, like you said, there's no way. Trucks are routinely, we have had these floods, and that road floods out, and emergency vehicles have come off the road down that turn. It's, a car can't get by, let alone a truck, and if it's bad weather, they go off the road, and it has happened. You can look at your records, there have been emergency vehicles that have been pulled off that road during storms, etc. So, you know, it's all we're asking for is fairness, that the road is properly maintained, because you're gonna have construction vehicles, obviously, and that's only gonna worsen the matter. And it would be nice that the road had been maintained thus far, but in the 4 years we've been there, town didn't fix it, the people who live on the road haven't fixed it, and 4 or 5 of us are getting together and we were gonna pay for it ourselves. to do it, because it's a necessity to the rest of us, and me as a physician, I've gotta get in and out of that regularly. And, at all hours of the night, and it's impassable, if you're gonna, so, I'm all for the improvement, just make sure the road is done properly, unless the town's gonna pay for it and do it, but I understand that that's a non-starter. So, we took care of our end of the road, 4 houses there, made it nice, safe. We accommodated turnaround for, we thought that was just a neighborly thing to do, to have garbage trucks turn around. Because otherwise they were running over their properties, there was no way to make a U-turn. But I thought it was a fair thing to do, and this would be the fair thing to do also, that they, I don't know how wide it has to be, but it has to be passable and drivable. You have to literally drive onto people's property to get over these potholes, and it has to be improved. So far, it's been just, some sand has been put down, it rains and it's off. So, that's all.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public on this application? Anyone else from the board?
No comment.
If I could take a moment, I just would like to respond to some of the comments from the public to just clarify a couple of things. The current road in its current condition is not 20 feet wide. It varies from about 15 to probably 18 when we did field measurements. The applicant, to comply with state fire code, is proposing 20-foot wide improved surface. They are providing a large turnaround at the southernmost terminus of the subdivision property, which will facilitate emergency vehicles turning around, you know, not without having to go down to the southernmost end of the overlook drive. The road will have to be designed to, you know, support a emergency vehicle designed to hold 75,000 pounds. Again, nothing has been approved yet. We have not reached a consensus as to the design, whether the 20-foot is adequate or if it required additional turnouts. But just some of the things, you know, the road is not 20 feet in its current state, and those have been addressed by the applicant in his subdivision
And
design.
it's gonna be, where are the improvements going to begin?
They will begin at, you know, at the northernmost terminus of their property, through the access, through the Meeting House Creek Deli Road. So that is what they're proposing, so the application is proposing to improve the condition of the road significantly from what it is now.
Going south to their
Yeah,
through the subdivision.
from Meeting House Creek Deli through the southernmost terminus of the applicant's property. He's not improving the entire road, but he is proposing to improve the road up to the southernmost parcel that he owns.
Okay.
Make a motion to close the, public hearing for Overlook Homes.
Second. Okay, motion made and seconded to close the public hearing for Overlook Homes, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Public hearing's closed. Okay. Next public hearing is a minor subdivision of Henry Silver.
Hi, Henry Silverman, 4654 Sound Avenue, Riverhead. Owner of the property for quite a long time, 8 acres, and we're doing a minor 3-lot subdivision.
There's a little more involved there. Mr. Silverman, you had gone to, the zoning board, right?
No.
What, did we?
Flagging, wetlands.
Oh, the flagging, right?
Wetland flagging.
When all that was,
Yep, all taken care of, yep.
okay. Okay, any questions from the board?
No, just to point out I believe the flagging was pretty darn close to the original flagging, there was no major changes.
Okay, anyone from the public have any comments on this application?
My name is Bart Maielli. I'm with the Highlands at Aquabog. I live basically across the street, Stonecrop Road, which doesn't appear on the map, and I'm not exactly sure how everything lines up. More questions than comments at this point. I think improvement, are there plans to demolish the homes? Just, where are the driveways and entrances for the proposed homes? Are they gonna be on Penny Lane or all off of Penny Lane? Okay. Just two, how many homes, three homes, single family?
2 additional lots and no home.
Okay. Yeah, it's more of questions, but we can talk. All right, thank you.
Any concerns or?
No, they, obviously, just with development and what's going on, the placement of the homes, right now, you know, the way I look at it is, homes would be an improvement, probably helpful to the area. Obviously, we have wetlands there, and with septic systems going in, I guess that should be a concern, but I'm sure all those things will be taken care of. So, no, it's just, we're here just for information.
Okay,
Thank you.
Is there a map on the wall?
That's on the wall.
There's a map out on the wall, posted on, okay.
Any other comments on this public hearing, subdivision Henry Silverman? Anyone else from the public?
Move we close the hearing? Second?
Okay, motion made and seconded to close the public hearing for Henry Silverman minor subdivision, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Public hearing's closed. Okay. Come up. Next item on the agenda are the resolutions. We already took care of one, but before we take up the other one on the agenda, 83, any comments from the public? Any public comments on the remaining resolution?
I have a question, Mr. Chairman. In looking at this, how many times this has been year after year after year, this just keeps going on and on and on and on and on. When is enough enough?
That's a good question. At what point does the town mandate that these roads get finished?
This has been going on for years and years, I mean.
My understanding that we're pretty close to the end of this one. As I heard Bob Kevin raised the same issue, or town board raised the same question to Bob, and it was his belief that they were pretty close towards the end.
Well, if that's the case, then can we add to the resolution that this is the last time we extend it? Can we do that? I just feel it's
You can certainly say that. You can also be asked sometime to override that, but you can certainly say that. You can't, because you say it doesn't mean that it will be the
Right,
last time.
right. I understand.
You can say that it is the sense of the board, or it is the belief of the board that there should be no further extension granted in the road.
Does it make sense to do 2 years, Dick? I mean, if you're saying they're close, does it make sense to do 1 year, or it doesn't matter?
I think that's the way the code.
I think that's the way the code is written, I read that, yeah.
So for Birchwood, section 3, how many lots are left that haven't been built?
I wanna say about 6 to 8. And they're more or less the ones that are on the southeasterly that connect to, Acorn,
Yeah.
that area over there.
And it might be a different school district too. It might be.
I don't,
Everything else is Shoreham Wading River.
And just the point is, you know, this has been, the subdivision's been there for a long time. and I
Long
know The
time.
residents must be,
Yeah.
when are we gonna do the roads already?
you
Yeah.
wanna add a second, resolve,
Yep.
planning board. Believes that this should be the last, and to the effect that this is the, there's no reason they can't complete them in 2 years, is what you're saying, I mean.
Right.
It's not weather, it's not, conditions, it's just lack of getting them done.
Just continues to.
Resolve that there shall be no further, extensions to the bond.
Sure, I'm okay with that.
No additional extensions, resolve that there shall be no additional.
I don't know if anybody feels the same way about it
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
board, but.
We do.
I can help Carissa put it correctly in that.
Okay,
Thank you. Then I'll move that resolution.
As amended.
As amended.
Second the motion?
Resolution 83.
okay, motion made and seconded to approve resolution 83, Birchwood at Wading River, section 3, 2-year performance security, as amended, that no additional extensions will be granted. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution's adopted.
We lost our public.
Yeah, any comments from the public on any matter? Okay.
With that being said, I'd like to move the minutes of the November 15th, 2018 planning board minutes. So moved.
Second.
Before you go any further. I wasn't at that meeting. So please strike me as being absent, strike me from the resolutions that were approved. In spirit, yes.
Okay, motion made and seconded to approve the minutes of November 15th. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, the next meeting, is Thursday, December 20th at 3 PM.
I will not be at that meeting, and I wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I will be on the West Coast.
Okay, motion to adjourn?
So motion?
All in favor?
Right.
Okay, thank you. See you in 2 weeks.
Good night, everybody.